The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. The Mayo Experience. The Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog Fantasy. We are live with you on YouTube, so but still shout out to the people listening on the audio podcast. In a few hours after this was live, you smash the like and sub to the channel while you are here. This is the NFL schedule release show, an annual tradition on the Pat Mayo Experience, and it coincides with a good time for you, the viewing public. Maybe a lot of people who have not been tuning into the PME over the last little bit because we haven't been doing a ton of football. We've been doing mainly golf, but because this is PGA Championship week, I got a ton of money to give away. I got $500 in cash, 2 Fantasy National memberships, and a Ship It Nation membership to give to you good people out there. If you want to know how to get ballots in that draw, hit the description. It's super easy. The main thing you need to do, which will support this show and have extra bonus content coming at you, and it'll all be free. If you do this one thing, use code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy right now. You can get a bonus deposit of up to $250, but just deposit $10 on Underdog using code Mayo. Hell, if you've ever wanted a way to help out the show, this is the way to help out the show. Jeff Fienberg sent us a DM earlier that he was logging off the internet for a few hours. Do you have to do that just so you don't look at it?
Yeah, because there were a lot of leaks coming. There were things coming hot and fast. So I was able to actually avoid all chargers. But once I started to see like random games hit my grid and knowing that for this show, I was going to try to keep it clean. Yeah, like around 5, 6 o'clock, I was like, I'm out of here. I'm just out of here. I even had to send a friend a message. Like if Scotty Scheffler falls down the stairs, like call my wife's phone.
Tim, do you feel like you know the Jets schedule already?
First, I'm surprised you didn't introduce me. This is strange.
Well, it's the live. We don't have the graphics queued up for the live like we do for every.
You're right. I know 2 games. I know the first game. I know the London game. And then like when I saw Jeff's message, I was like, I need to get off Twitter as well, because I don't want things ruined for me. So I did too get off Twitter because I do not have the ability to not look if it's there. Like just it would come across my Twitter because people would see things and people would send me things. And so I get like I could.
Oh, I think we lost Tim already.
A lot of Menchies. It has a lot of Menchies, but I simply can't look at it.
Too many Menchies. Can't look at it. The Jets have, I believe, 7 primetime games this year now.
Wow.
That's maxed out. Well, when you are the marquee franchise in the AFC, you get standalone 7.
7?
Well, there's a lot. But here's the thing.
That's half the season minus 1.
There are 4.
6 primetime games and the London game.
There are 4. Yeah, there's 5 international games, which count as primetime games. There's all the Thursday night games, and there are 4 doubleheader Monday Night Football games. So there's a lot of teams with a lot of primetime games this year, Jeff.
Okay, yeah, well, good for Tim. I tweeted today that any Jets fan should be realistically should be more excited now than they were last year because the team is better. This is a better team. The quarterback stays healthy. So like, Tim trying to keep it calm, like why? It's a better team. Just put it on last year again. Be that guy.
Oh, sorry. They have 6 primetime games. That is the same as the Texans.
6 standalone games?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like a third of the season.
So what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to do week 1? Do you want to do the international series? Do you want to get straight to the Chargers and Jets? Maybe do the Bills or Dolphins just to get Tim mad to start the show? Where do you guys want to go with
Christmas morning? This is like Christmas morning. You're saying you want to have coffee first? Do you want to have some cinnamon rolls?
Let Tim go first.
Maybe you want to read the newspaper. I want to open some presents.
Yeah. All right, let's do week 1, and we will have our first edition of Guess the Spreads between the two of you, because I'm looking at it right now.
Are there spreads up?
Yeah, oh yeah, there's spreads out.
Of course there are.
So, Tim, you can go first on this. We have the opening game of the season, Ravens at Chiefs, a rematch of the AFC Championship game. What do you think the spread is already?
Chiefs by 3.
You are correct. It is Chiefs by 3. Second game, Jeff. 1 o'clock. Friday, September 6th in Brazil. Packers at Eagles. So it's a neutral site game.
Eagles by 2.
That is incorrect. Tim.
Eagles by 1.5.
That is correct. Tim, 3-0, because you get bonus points for nailing it if you do get it. So yeah, do you guys want to go to Brazil, cover that game?
No.
Why not? What do you got against Brazil?
I'm already traveling in the month of September. That's enough.
We're going to Montreal. You could drive.
That's traveling.
You could drive to Montreal in like 10 hours.
No, I'm not going.
Okay. Does that mean you don't want to go to Vikings Jets in London?
I would go if it was a quick trip.
What does that mean, a quick trip?
What does that mean?
Like in on Saturday, out on Monday sort of thing.
So if Pat pays $3,000 for you to go for 2 days, you'll go, is essentially what you're saying?
That's another way to put it. Yes, I would.
That's like weird. Like when if I go to Cleveland hypothetically to see a game, that's what I do. If I was going to London to see a game, like wouldn't you actually just spend some time there? You've seen it on Google Maps. Not all of us have done that.
No, but you see, I know when the date of my Jets game is. It's right after we get back from Montreal.
Oh, it's a lot of travel.
So,
All right.
no.
Next game to kick off they really buried some of these games here on the early slate for Sunday. Patriots at Bengals, the return of Joe Burrow, Tim.
Well, Bengals by 7.5.
Incorrect, Jeff.
Bengals by 8.
That is correct. So Jeff's on the board with 2 points. Bengals by 8. Jeff, Tennessee at Chicago.
Ooh. Tennessee at Chicago. Well, ooh, what? Like Tennessee gets that game. Okay. We're excited for Chicago. We don't know much about Tennessee, but there's hype. But how much? 6. Chicago 6 minus.
That is
Final
incorrect.
answer.
Tim.
4.5.
The answer is 4.
Chicago.
So Tim gets the point.
Oh.
I mean, are the Titans that bad? Honestly, like should the Bears be getting
the
more?
Bears hype? Bears hype.
Yeah,
The Bears are hype. Apparently, the sports books actually have there's Bears liability. Like people have just bet them hard. They're overhyped. You're not the Texans if everyone's projecting you to be the Texans. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, you need to kind of come out of nowhere. I like Tennessee plus 4. That's actually the first bet that I like. I'm not going to tie up my money for 4 months here with a minus 110, but I do like the Titans plus 4. Tim, Vikings at Giants.
Ooh.
Did we lose Tim?
No, I said pick 'em.
Oh, yeah, we did lose you because we didn't hear that. Pick'em is incorrect, Jeff.
Vikings minus 1.
That is incorrect. Pick'em will be the winning selection because it's Giants minus 1. Jeff, Carolina at New Orleans. That's a sad game.
Oof.
New Orleans minus 5.
Incorrect.
New Orleans by 4.5.
That is correct for Tim. Washington into the late set of games. The Commanders at the Buccaneers, Tim.
Oh my goodness. Commanders, Buccaneers. That's a bad game. I'll say Bucks by 2.5.
Incorrect.
Sorry. We're already in the afternoon. So how many afternoon games are there?
This one just on the site that I'm looking at, you put this game. There's actually 2 more early games, but it just moved.
Okay, that's
up.
what I thought. That was just standard light. So, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry for being annoying. I'm going to be more annoying. What's the game again? Because my head was spinning that we're already at late games. But
Washington at Tampa.
Tampa minus field goal.
Yeah, it's 3.5, but Jeff gets it for that. So, Jeff, to you, Jags at Dolphins, which is an early game. Battle of Florida.
Okay,
Of course. Dolphins have a home game, and they get to play another Florida opponent. Great.
Isn't that
You're flying.
Isn't that a disadvantage to them?
No. Well, yes, then they'll whine about it. How they're not getting any home field advantage. Great.
You know, the game that sent me off the internet today was seeing Dolphins at Browns, I think in like prime time, week 17, which I was like, holy shit, that's on Dolphins. So the Dolphins getting a cold game deep into winter. And yes, Pat, you're right. We've got to do a Dolphin schedule because we've got to hear Tim predict them later. This is Tim's pick, though.
I mean, I really
Dolphins
don't care. Just pick it.
by 4.
That is correct. Dolphins by 4 is the correct answer. Paul's Buffalo Bills are hosting Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, Jeff.
I'm playing division for this. I feel it. Paul's Buffalo Bills are hosting Arizona.
Sounds like a survivor pick.
Bills -6.
No.
Is it 7.5 or is it 8? 7.5.
Is incorrect, but 7.5 will get you the point because it is 7 for the Buffalo Bills over the Cardinals.
I'm horrible at this.
Another late game. Tim, you can kick this off. Raiders at Chargers.
We did that week 1, I think, last year, right? We won
2 years ago when Carr threw that pick at the end of the game.
Oh yeah,
We started
last
with
year was
Miami last
Dolphins. Yeah, that was
These are 2 even teams. Chargers by 2.5.
That's correct. You're crushing right now. 12-3.
That'll be a revenge game for the 50 burger or 60 burger, whatever that was.
Or the tie when they tried to tie. Remember that one, Jeff?
Yeah, they're all Staley loser shit.
Those games were all in Vegas, though.
America's game of the week, I assume. Cowboys at Browns, Jeff, is 5:20 or 4:25 p.m. Eastern.
Pick 'em.
Incorrect.
Cowboys by 2.
Browns by 1, so Jeff gets the point on that one. Broncos at Seahawks, Tim.
That's the first
These-
Russell game of the Hackett
These two
era.
did open against each other recently.
On Monday night.
Yeah,
It was the
that's
game where
right.
Hackett didn't kick it, or what an idiot. Yeah, it was the start of like, Yeah, it was the start of
Seahawks by 4.
No.
Seahawks by 3.
Seahawks by 4.5, so Tim gets the point. Tim, you're crushing here.
What?
Sunday night football for Tim. Rams at Lions. Goff versus the newly minted $200 million man, Jared Goff.
You said golf
Lions
versus-
by 3.
That is correct. 15-4. Monday night football. Jeff, it is your selection. Jets at Niners.
That's a playoff rematch, that Lions Rams. Wow. Niners by 5.
That is incorrect, Tim.
Well, I know what the opening line was because somebody told me it was
Oh.
San Francisco by 6.5. So I'll just say San Francisco by 6.5.
It's 5. It's actually 5.5 now.
Oh, Jets team.
Yeah, lots of Jets teams. That's week 1 of the NFL running through the entire schedule. The Thursday night game the next week, Tim, is Bills at Dolphins.
Yeah, well, that I knew. That had been told to me. Again, another opportunity for the Dolphins to whine about, we have a hot game, but it's night out, so we don't get to use the advantage of the heat. Like, stop it.
So what is it that you're doing here? Are you projecting, if you were a Dolphins fan, how you would go about whining about the schedule? Because I haven't heard this from anyone else.
When I go through the subreddits, you can be sure these are exactly the sorts of things that I'm going to encounter.
The Dolphins have that dangerous early season home field, right? Where they bake you on the other sideline and they're wearing whites.
So we missed. There's a game that doesn't have a spread listed. It's Titans and Colts, or Texans and Colts, sorry, who are playing week 1. I'm guessing that's because of Anthony Richardson.
And that's at 1:00, obviously.
Yeah, but there's no spread for that game right now.
Chargers at Raiders.
I'd say I would have taken the Texans by 2.5.
Yeah, sure. But so do we want to do, let's do Dolphins first. I think Dolphins is more fun.
This guy. Okay, sure.
We'll
First.
kick the can down the road here. So Tim, we need you to come up here. Let's see. Miami Dolphins. I heard they're the greatest football team. Is that true, Tim? Is that a yes or a no?
Oh, okay, Tim.
What?
You thinking that the league officially announcing another game yesterday, the first Amazon Prime game, was having your number stolen is an underrated, like very deranged take.
Oh, it totally ruined my moment.
Wait, what?
When he thought that the Bills Dolphins game being announced like 3 hours after the 49ers Jets game during schedule released, he was complaining his moment was stolen. Like I said on Twitter, that's like the guy coming in at the Royal Rumble, mad someone else is coming in 2 minutes later. Like, it's schedule release week. That's a deranged main character thought.
I would tend to
I don't
agree.
agree.
Did you see that there are now 3 Netflix games on Christmas? We have Peacock games, Netflix games, Amazon Prime games. It is, as Jeff, you've pointed out many times, that living in Canada and watching the NFL is actually way easier and cheaper than living in America and doing all these things, because all these games are just going to be on TSN, not a big deal. Even the Netflix games, you can watch on either if you want to in Canada. I saw Richard Deutsch reported that earlier today. But Tim, how would you feel about, in order to watch every single NFL game, if you wanted to do that, I think it's going to cost $900 this year in the States.
It would be very, very frustrating.
But would you do it? What would you do?
Yeah. Still value.
Go over to your house.
You let someone else pay for it?
It does
it's really
own
the primetime games, because you do feel like you're getting a semblance of value with the actual Sunday ticket, especially if you're cheering for an out-of-market team. Like what Tim would actually wake up and pay on Sunday morning is probably a lot to be able to watch the Jets. Probably a lot more than Sunday ticket actually charges you. It's when you add on all these like tentpole special event nights. That's when you feel like, whoa, we're back in that old cable world. And yeah, we're totally spoiled here in Canada when it comes to NFL broadcast rights, because it's still just classic cable for us, even with the streaming games.
I just wouldn't. I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, I have, if it wasn't previously subscribed, and I guess Peacock has, because ESPN Plus has games now as well, which will not be included as a part of the regular ESPN package.
Do they?
Yeah, I believe that there is an ESPN Plus game.
Yeah,
Must be one of the
well,
extra Monday nighters or something, like the doubleheader game or something.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know which one it is. But I mean, it's all, I think that they saw the success in terms of subscriptions that Peacock had last year for both whatever game that they had and then the playoff game. They were like, well, this seems like a really easy way to make a lot of money for, selling a game for $75 million or something like that. I get why they're doing it. Do you think there is a point of no return for this where they've spread themselves too thin, Tim? Or because it's the NFL, people will just pay?
does risk being too thin, but as long as like the product continues to be exciting and people want to wager on it, then it's not too thin. There is a point at which they will reach where it's too thin, but they'll only know that because they'll have been stretched too thin and people will stop.
All right. Well,
now
we don't know if we're there yet. I don't think they are.
Sorry, sometimes Tim's cutting out. I'm bad enough as it is with coming in, but and now there's some reports of like bundling taking place to a certain respect, but there's no secret that they obviously went with it's Cowboy Steelers for that Netflix game or something crazy.
I think it's all it's whatever the Christmas Day games are. The ESPN Plus game is Chargers against Arizona, by the way.
Yeah, is that around the holidays or something? When is that? Is that an extra Monday nighter?
You can't know. You can't know until we do the Chargers schedule.
Okay, fine. Well, yeah, I knew the Cardinals are on the schedule, so that is what it is. That's a crossover NFC game for the Chargers. Peacock was a great success, and they put the greatest team, the biggest attraction the league has, on Mahomes, and people like to watch him. And with this one, they were no secret. I believe they put some blue blood teams on for the Netflix.
The Netflix or Tim?
Sorry, I'm just trying. I don't remember if you can. I know it was announced. What is it? Dallas, Pittsburgh.
The Netflix game on Christmas Day game. What is that week? Yeah, it's Pittsburgh. It looks like you got Houston, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City on Netflix on Christmas Day.
Oh, sorry, Pittsburgh, Kansas City. Exactly. So a blue blood organization and the greatest draw the league has in Mahomes. As I don't know, I'm still in like the dad zone where I'm paying for so much streaming shit because of my kids. So I'd at least have 2 or 3 probably already. And yeah, I'd be forced to sign up for an extra, and it would probably have been Peacock, and I would have done it last year.
And then you probably still have that Peacock. I mean, what they want you to do is sign up to watch the game and then forget that you've signed up and pay for a year.
Yeah, and there's once in a while something good enough where you're like, okay, we'll watch that. But yeah, I'm a total mark with some subscriptions. I see that shit come in, automatic payment. God, here we go again.
When does WWF go to Netflix? When does that happen? New Year?
I believe so. I am not sure. And I saw listening to something yesterday, I think Netflix and UFC, when they're coming up, that could be really attractive. UFC, that big tent pole, come in, watch that once a month pay-per-view. I think that's one that I've been told to watch for is UFC Netflix.
Okay. That's interesting. Dolphins schedule, Tim. Let's do this. Your dad's probably hyped. 3 of the first 4 games they play are at home.
There is no chance that he's awake. There's no chance that he's awake right now, let alone is he not hyped.
Okay. Well, maybe you can get him hyped. Week 1 versus the Jags, win or loss?
Win.
Week 2, Thursday night football at home against the Bills.
Win.
Week 3 at Seattle.
Loss.
Okay. Week 4, Monday night football against the Titans, a game they lost last year on Monday night.
Yeah, they'll win that game.
3-1 Dolphins. Week 5 at the Patriots.
4-1.
Dolphins are looking pretty good here. Week 6 bye. Week 7 at the Colts.
Loss.
Like the Colts, do you?
A little bit.
At home against the Cardinals is the next game.
I'll give them a win.
All right. At the Bills.
Loss.
So they don't get the Bills in the middle of the frigid cold. They get the Bills in the middle of October. Monday Night Football at the Rams, Week 10.
Hard to say. If Stafford's playing, the Rams would win that game. So I'll say Rams win.
Okay. At home against the Raiders.
Win.
At home against the Patriots.
Win.
At Green Bay on Thanksgiving.
Foolish game that is.
Why is it?
I just want to note that, I know it's a Thanksgiving game, but it's
that
not really a Thanksgiving game because, it's not against the Cowboys or the Lions. It doesn't have the prestige of either of the real Thanksgiving games. It's just the tack-on thing they added a few years ago at night that no one gets excited for which there's no history. So, it's technically on the 28th of November, and it's a Thanksgiving game. But honest to God, it's not really a Thanksgiving game. I don't give it the same credit that I would give it the others.
Is this
and I expect Green Bay to beat them.
It's a great game, and it's a game that isn't beholden to Dallas or Detroit, that they've done a really good job at scheduling. So I don't know what you're talking about. It's not a real game.
It's not a real Thanksgiving game.
Yes, what do you mean?
It has no cachet, that last night game.
What are you talking about?
They mix teams in and out all the time. People don't pay attention.
Good thing.
They fall asleep. They're either getting ready for Black Friday sales, or they're asleep, or they're just doing other things, or parties have ended. It's just, yes, it's technically on Thanksgiving, but don't you tell me it's a Thanksgiving Day game, because it isn't.
Yeah, the guys are getting ready to go shopping. That's your take against why it's not a good game? No, you're at home, you're relaxed, you've stuffed your face with food. You're just lying on the couch watching another NFL product on Thanksgiving. This is such only if the Jets got this, you called the Black Friday. If the Jets got this game, it would be real Thanksgiving, obviously.
You also said this is something that happened a few years ago. Hasn't this game been happening for 15 years now?
Yeah, since 2006,
So almost 20 years.
I guess. Yeah, sure.
So in your mind, is 20 years a few years ago?
It doesn't feel like that long ago.
So
But I suppose it is.
so once again, the your truth is more important than actual reality.
It's not
It's a good
70 years
game.
in the past.
It's also two
fine. It's a fine game.
draft class. Like we're all part of that same like great quarterback draft class here in that game. So
Yeah, it's a fine game.
You know why he's so mad about this, Jeff?
why?
Because he had made a claim to our Dolphins fan friend that Tua wasn't a good enough quarterback to warrant getting this game.
It's a good game. They're two franchises.
No,
that,
Tua's not good enough, according to Tim. And then they got the game.
Listen, it'll be a polarizing game. Both guys are playing on their 5th-year extension. You don't expect either to well, maybe Tua will sign the extension coming in, but I like this game. This is a really fun game for a football fan. I think it's a great way to end that holiday slate. Like, I think it's a great game. Tim trying to say a game playing at night on actual Thanksgiving doesn't count as Thanksgiving.
Well, here's why he's probably secretly upset, because he's probably already looked at the schedule. The Dolphins get extra rest to host the Jets the next week.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Makes no difference. It's a loss.
At the
You
Texans.
guys haven't played yet.
Yeah, backloading us with the dog. Well, I see on the screen here. We played them last week too. Lost to the Texans.
Okay. At home against the 49ers.
That's also a loss.
Sunday night football at the Cleveland Browns.
And last time I looked, it's cold. It's under 40 degrees in Cleveland in December. Ergo, that's a Cleveland win.
Week 18,
January.
TBD at the Jets.
Totally depends on whether we need the game.
Well, what do you think?
If we don't need the game?
Do you think that they need? Well, you have to make a pick. Do you think the Jets need the game or not?
I mean, we might. So I'll say yes. And so if we need the game, we'll eat them alive.
But who's your backup again?
Tyrod Taylor.
Come on. Like, you don't think you wouldn't beat the Dolphins? How bad they are, according to you?
I do like the fact that the Dolphins have to finish the season at Cleveland and at New York City. That makes me happy. More whining from them.
Sounds like a lot of whining from you. 7-10 is what you have the Dolphins going this year.
Okay.
Which is far more generous
it
than I would have thought. I bet you if we did the Patriots version of this, you'd have them going 0-17.
A lot of their tough games seem to be backloaded.
Well, they have the two outdoor games in January against the Browns and Jets. That's tough for a warm weather team.
And they catch San Francisco late in the year.
Maybe San Francisco will have nothing to play for by week 16.
This is a day. If I'm a Dolphin fan, like, I'm staring at this like, holy shit, potentially here we go again. Like, we're going to look so good early, and then the schedule's going to put everyone. There's chance for another late season collapse, which kind of even happened in the Flores years where they had such, even where they had like wiggle room to bottom out, they bottom out totally. And then you're like, oh my God, I got to hear the noise of like McDaniel and Tua, like in the cold potentially. Like, I don't know, that schedule just, like, you're just already, as a Dolphin fan who's so beaten down, putting on my like hardcore beaten down hat, you're just playing out that scenario. It's like, that's a perfect recipe for that scenario to play out again, as Tim mentioned. That's a hard finish.
Well, I do want to let everyone know to smash the like, sub to the channel, and if you hit the description, I'm giving away over $1,000 worth of both products and cash, so please go do that. The main thing you can do is use code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy. Go deposit right now. If you're only here for football, for dipping your toe back in, please go do that now, because we're going to have something very special at Underdog for the Pat Mayo experience on Underdog Fantasy this time around. Chargers schedule. You ready, Jeff?
I'm ready. I got that opener. I've been thinking about it for the last 12 minutes. Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew. Let's go.
Why don't you tee up what you most want or don't want?
I don't really know what I don't really know what I don't want. I
Like
would
I
like to
know
play
I don't
the
want
Chiefs early.
I don't want an early buy. I don't want anything involved with Christmas. I don't want extra rest coming off the Thursday game with my opponent.
Yeah, they're trying to do a good job with that stuff. Selfishly, when am I in Vegas? Because it's always been right around Christmas, which is a bad time to disappear. Shout out to my internet friend Eric Eager getting a job with the Carolina Panthers. So I'm interested when that Chargers Panthers game is. Obviously the Harbaugh Bowl, but I don't know. It's just new times. I'm actually curious if the Chargers went anime again. I haven't been on. I don't have a clue.
It wasn't.
See if they've
It wasn't anime. It looked like it was like a Sims version of the Chargers schedule.
Okay, yeah, whatever. I'm sure they did a bang up job, but it's kind of embarrassing when your team's greatest achievement is how they do schedule release. Like let's win some ball games and hopefully it's time. And I'm now delaying what I want to know. So I know week one. Feed it to me. Let's go. I want to eat Sean Payton. Bring him on. They swept us last year.
Well, win or loss, Raiders week 1.
You asking me? We're going. That's a new game. That's a new era. That's 4:00 in the afternoon. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna take that one in my pocket. I hate this game though.
You won't have to wait long to say hi to your friend Eric at the Panthers week 2.
Okay, that's early. Like, hopefully that's not like a Jewish high holiday.
September 15th.
Yeah, it's early. Like, okay. Nice weather, though. I like it. Would be nice to go week 2 on the road. Big travel.
You have to pick a win or a loss. That's how the game works.
Okay, that's a win. We'll grind out a game versus number 1 overall pick team last year.
You'll be happy to know, Jeff, Rosh Hashanah is in early October this year, and Yom Kippur is in middle October.
Okay.
You got those off the top of your head? Or did you open up your Google Calendar?
I actually knew those off the top of
No,
my head.
why?
Because I'm weird and encyclopedic when it comes to dates and stuff like that.
But what on earth? I have no
I just
idea.
know.
That's really funny to me.
Week
I assure you none of my friends know that.
Week 3 at the Steelers.
I don't. I wish I had larger context of the games because I'd say, okay, win that one, lose that one, but I don't want to say we're going 3-0, so I'm blindly going to give us this loss. Sure.
You think
we'll
the Steelers are that good?
No, no. I think that'll be a grinder. They, I don't know. I'm going to say a loss. We'll be feeling high off 2-0, and we'll go into Steel Town, and they'll beat us. But I don't fully believe in that. But I have to play this game.
Week 4, hosting the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, early, not early enough. That's a loss. See, if you showed me that earlier, I'd have given the Steeler game a win. But no, we're playing this game. Any of this prime time?
No.
Okay.
Week 5. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Bye week.
Sure. Whatever.
Ugh.
I think we had that shit last year. What? No comment. No comment because it wouldn't be polite and we're live.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't like that, do you?
I am dude.
Jeff's going to bring together a whole community of Chargers fans to stand out in the cul-de-sac and discuss what to do with Park Avenue if they ever give him a week 5 bye again.
No, but that's frustrating. That's annoying. That's going to come back to hurt us.
That week 4 game is when we're all going to be in Montreal together as well.
Oh, God damn it. Okay. I wish that was the bye.
Yeah, that would actually have worked out pretty well for you, but that is not the case. You'll be playing Mahomes while we're watching the end of the President's Cup in Montreal. Week 6 at the Denver Broncos.
Out of a bye, yeah, we're going to get back to basics. We're taking that one. Yeah.
Week 7, Monday night football at the Arizona Cardinals on ESPN+.
That's got to be a doubleheader because there's no way.
It is a doubleheader.
Yeah. Like it's like people don't even watch ESPN anymore, so there's no way they're going to streaming for Monday Night Football. Yeah, win.
Is it because ESPN's too woke for you that you won't watch?
No, I don't, dude. I mean, can't I even get that stuff anyway? They put the good shows on if I want, but that's what the kids are saying. I mean, pregame shows. Who needs that?
Yeah,
Nothing matters.
The other Monday night game in Week 7 is Baltimore at Tampa. In case you were wondering.
Okay, so that's like both Harbaughs are playing on the same night. Blah 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 blah. Are these? But these games are within like an hour and a half of each other, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
Which is awesome. I feel like we all gave that like 2 thumbs up last year, didn't we, Tim?
Yes, there were 3 doubleheaders last year. I said there should be like 6.
Week 8.
This is truly though like I'm a little second banana fiddle game on some streaming. Well, the other like that was ESPN and ABC. This is the future. They need people to buy the streaming, and fantasy bros will need their points, whatever. Though if they haven't already.
I mean, it's also the Chargers. So, like, what better team to stick on some streaming service no one wants than the Chargers? Like, it's like the NFL is giving Netflix the good games when it comes to ESPN Plus. Like, yeah, here have the Chargers. We don't care
there's
if anyone
clearly like
subs or
levels. There's clearly levels to the streaming shit. Like they're throwing ESPN, ABC a big bone as a partner that will give you some of the shit for your streaming, whatever. Don't totally diss the Chargers. Last year, they got a prime Peacock game that Herbert wasn't healthy for, but they were trying to set up a Christmas Eve or something, Herbert Allen. So they weren't afraid of trying to give it. And we got the first ever Amazon Prime game. So obviously on the back of the Chiefs, but you know, we've been in some fancy Prime streamers before.
Great. All right. Hosting the Saints in Week 8.
Win.
Okay. 5-2 already. How do you feel about the Chargers schedule so far, Tim?
I think outside of having to play the Chiefs, it's been a very easy schedule so far.
Yeah, the math shows it's an easy schedule. We finished last place. We play the NFC South. Our crossovers are also
the North, though. You haven't played the Browns, Bengals, Steelers, and Ravens. You played the Steelers. That's it.
Yeah, so that'll be hard. But by the schedule math, and someone showed me by current win totals, we have the second easiest schedule in the league.
I believe it.
So that's good. So yeah, let's see if we can get them. Let's fight for contend for that last playoff spot where loser teams have contended the last few years and made it. We can be one of those losers.
Week 9 at Cleveland.
I'll take the L. Maybe I'll go to that. Done it a few times. Taken some really ugly games there. Watched Hurricane Sandy, a 6-3 loss in the remnants of Hurricane Sandy. One of the worst experiences of my life. Horrible.
Week 10, hosting the Tennessee Titans. You and your old roommate can fight about it.
Yeah, you know, he's actually, for some worries, actually moving to San Diego, which is really weird. But yeah, so he's obviously going to that. He's like,
why does it feel like the Chargers and Titans play every year?
We match up in the crossover, I guess, a lot.
Yeah, they keep finishing third in each other's divisions.
Yeah, when we're second, they're second. When we're third, they're third. We certainly don't win. I guess the couple years they did play each other, maybe the Titans were really good. I mean, we had full division crossover, but yeah, I don't know. You're not wrong about that, Pat, because I've had a lot of blunt and bucket Sunday nights due to that matchup. So we will take the win. Give me a game to lose. Can I lose a game? I need to lose a couple.
Hosting the Bengals, Week 11.
Yeah, loss, whatever. I don't care. Is that Monday Night Football or anything fun?
Nope.
What the fuck is going on?
Monday Night Football the next week, hosting the Baltimore Ravens.
That's just a middle of the season Monday nighter. No holiday, no nothing.
Nope.
Okay, good for ESPN. That would have been
the Monday before Thanksgiving.
That would have been like a second round draft pick for ESPN. So they used it on us.
I don't know if it was so much on you that they were using it.
Harbaugh. On dads.
Harbaugh.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, like on that. I mean, like all of it. Sure. So I just meant like the matchup. They used an early pick. They use, because in this new landscape, they don't get a ton, but Monday nights Like Monday night shitty, right? Isn't Sunday night what Monday night was in a previous generation in terms of
Yes.
matchups?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so this was a big draw. This was they had to burn an early equity game for this, so they did it. I'll take the lot. We are struggling against the North. This could hurt me in an AFC record thing because I'm 0-3 now in the North. I'll take this loss. What a division that is.
So 6-5 to this point for the Los Angeles Chargers, according to you. At the Atlanta Falcons, week 13.
Going back to the Bird. Chick-fil-A's closed on Sunday. We'll win the game, though.
Okay. Sunday Night Football, the next week, at the Chiefs. Loss.
We're just not. I want to be able to get a split there, but we're just not in good faith. You know, maybe we can grind out games, slow some pace. In good faith, we're just going to take these losses.
Week number 15, hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Got that.
Week
I don't
17.
give a shit. I don't
Sorry.
give a shit what they were about. I don't care.
We-
I got that.
Week 16, hosting the Broncos.
Hold on a second. It's again the holidays, and I'm in Vegas. It
Well,
just
it's actually after the holidays, Jeff. It's January 8th.
Yeah.
You know, that's literally that's the worst. That's the hardest. That's the most impossible spot. It's like we just had holidays. The kids are back at school. I can't just go. Like I want that game just randomly in the middle of October, November. Every year, it's literally over Christmas in January. Really annoying. I don't know. We'll lose to the Broncos, but we're sweeping the Raiders.
All right. Week 17 is at the Patriots. You can go to that game too.
There's a lot of games I could go to. If that matters, I will go. We'll win.
All
So
right.
what are we? 9-9, 10-7, or 9-8?
10-7 is going to be the record because you said they sweep the Raiders. They are at the Raiders in week 18, January 6th. So 10-7 for the Chargers. Not so bad. Better
No
than the-
Thursday night game for the Chargers.
No, only 3 primetime games for them.
2 Mondays and a Sunday. Interesting.
Yeah, that is weird. Whatever. It's time to rein us in. We were spoiled for a bit. The league bought too much stock into us, like my box of Herbert rookies.
Well,
and we played a little.
Yeah, you got your box of Herbert rookies, but what about your investment in the Herbert Water Company that you talked about that one time?
No, it wasn't water. It was like beef jerky. That's that. Oh, look at that one. There's some good things in that portfolio, but that's one that was, yeah. Pat, I don't know where you pulled that from. There's no doubt that was the worst investment. That was the worst thing I did.
Hey,
There's not a bet worse that I've ever done than that. But 10-7, Tim, were you playing? How do you have me? What do you have me doing?
I think right around there. I wanted to see you with a lower record link because I don't think your team's that good. But you have a super soft schedule. So it's about
Yeah,
where it
I
should
wasn't
be.
looking for all those wins. I almost had
No.
to force losses. But, I don't even. The win total's 9.5. I really think that's juice because of Harbaugh. Like, I don't think we are a 10-win team. But playing that game, I found 10. I took 10.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to Adam in the chat, that the Chargers travel the most of any team in football this year.
We're always
But
top
they
3 or 4.
they or Seattle or the Rams or the 49ers are always going to travel the most.
Yeah, and especially because we're playing the NFC South. So that's a lot. Like you mentioned it, we are at Atlanta and Carolina at 2 separate points. Those are big trips.
Tampa.
We're at New England. So we got a lot of trips. Any schedule that has a lot of games close to me would mean the Chargers are traveling their fucking asses off, but they're never not in the top 3 or 4. Ever.
And look, if you want, listen, you might get stuck with the most travel, but if you have to play the NFC South as a result of that, I would take that trade-off.
I would agree. A lot of coin flips. Let's win them.
Well, let's get to what the people are here to see. Tim talking about the Buffalo Bills schedule.
No.
Now we'll do the Jets just for you.
All right, let's go. I know the first game.
All right, so tell us about the first game. How are you feeling about the first game?
Hardest game on the schedule, but they gave it to me first when I'm as healthy as I can be in a rematch, in a redo situation from last year's Monday night. The perfect spot for this game to be. Knock them out. 1-0.
Home game for Aaron Rodgers, too.
Yeah, that's true, I suppose. Home game. It's a great spot. Like, I want to play the Niners, or I want to play all my tough games as early as possible. So,
well, you get Monday Night Football in week 1. How is this possible? Oh, okay, I'm looking at it wrong. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. They would play there and there. Week 2 starting on the road for back-to-back games, Tim, at the Tennessee Titans.
Okay, it's another win, but okay. We start by traveling all the way out to Santa Clara and then back, and then all the way down to Nashville and back. Nashville. Grand Ole Opry is a grand old second win.
Okay. Thursday Night Football in week 3, Tim. Hosting the Patriots.
That's BS that our home opener should be a Thursday night game.
You get the day to yourself.
I don't like that. I don't care for that. It's a win, though. Please. Patriots. The bye week.
A bye week. Bye week already in week 3.
Yeah.
Week 4, Tim? Why are you looking at the schedule? Is it up? Like squinting at the schedule on the screen right now?
Yes, it's on the schedule. It's on the screen now.
Yeah, so week 4, Broncos at home.
Oh, great. Great. I hate going to Denver. I don't mind playing them at home.
You still have the rivalry with Coach?
I mean, he sort of humiliated himself last year, and then I let him. I said I was done with such a rivalry. So no, not really. That's a win, though.
What did the Broncos end up going last year? 8-9? I feel like they were better than we just remember
Something
that
like that.
70-point
Something
game.
like that.
But I actually think they were
Something like
okay.
that.
Yeah.
They sort of had the situation like the Dolphins and Jets have this year where they don't play till late, and they did sweep the Chargers late to pad that record.
Yeah, they lost that game against the Patriots on Christmas Eve to knock them out of the playoffs.
That's right. Week 5 in London against the Vikings. This could be the last Sam Darnold start, or you get week 5 of J.J. McCarthy.
So this is already our third standalone game, and it's week 5.
Yeah.
I like that it's a road game, and it's not really a road game because it's a neutral site game.
That's good.
Make it 5.
Make it
5. Let's roll.
All right. Week number 6, Monday Night Football, Tim, at home against the Buffalo Bills.
Love it. We played them last year without a quarterback and beat them. This year we have a quarterback. We'll beat them again. 4 standalone games in 6 weeks. They love me. They love me.
You know, the internet is saying
the bell of the ball. I'm the bell of the ball.
The internet is saying they do love you and they want you to be really good. And this early season schedule versus a lot of inexperienced quarterbacks, the league wants the Jets to have not the record Tim says they'll have, more realistic, but still really good. That's clearly what they're trying to set up. They're trying to make you get good and excited and get that national buzz, clearly.
Josh Allen's the first great quarterback we face, and it's 6 weeks in.
Well, the Jets are 6-0 after 6 weeks with 4 standalone games over that time. Week 7, Sunday Night Football, Tim, at the Steelers.
Oh my goodness. 5 standalone games in 7 weeks. I won't even know how to watch Sunday football with the Jets because I'm too important to be on Sunday at 2 o'clock. I'm too important. Like, I don't need to be down there in the Commons. Give me another win. I love it. 5-7.
Week number 8 at the Patriots at 1 o'clock.
Bye week.
You just keep rolling it. Won't even know my body. The only risk is our body clock could be so off because we don't play 2 o'clock games on Sundays anymore.
You're gonna clinch that playoff spot by Thanksgiving, like you've always tweeted about every year.
We're starting hot here.
Week number 9, Tim, Thursday Night Football
No,
at home
6-9
at home against the Texans.
Texans are good. We can't win every game. I'll give it to the Texans. But that's 6 of 9.
Week number 10 at the Cardinals.
That's a win.
Week number 11.
Also, wait, that's 2 Thursday games for me. I have to play 2 Thursday games? Come on.
Well, week number 11 is a Sunday night football game, Tim.
What?
Colts
7 of 11.
Colts
7
at
standalone
Jets.
games. Colts at Jets. Oh my goodness. It's like a dream come true. Another win, please.
Next game up, the Seahawks have to travel across.
I haven't heard Miami yet.
The Seahawks have to travel across the country to play the Jets in an early game.
Okay. I still haven't had a bye yet either.
Oh, sorry, week 12 is the bye. So that's the bye. It's Colts, then bye week.
Goodbye.
Oh, okay.
So
Good bye. Great bye.
Week
Maybe
13.
too late, but really good. If you're really good, that's a great buy.
Yeah,
that's
If
a
you're really
great
good,
buy.
That's a great buy.
Week 13 is Seahawks at Jets early game. Off a bye.
Jets. Although I like Seattle a lot this season. Maybe more than most people. Jets, but I don't know.
Well, we
Off a buy?
off
Come
a
on.
bye, yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking the Jets, but like Seattle's good.
Yeah, but you're off a buy.
And it's an
I
early
get it,
game
but
for
like-
Seattle.
I get it. I'm picking the Jets, but like I'm not sleeping on the Seahawks. That defense, that offense, that team this year wouldn't put it this way, it wouldn't shock me if they end up winning the West, let alone competing.
You might be winning a hypothetical Super Bowl in like 8 minutes here.
I think
Maybe. We'll see.
It feels like they've already won it here. Week 14 at the Dolphins has already been declared a win by Tim when we went through the Dolphins schedule. At the Jags, week 15.
Nah, no, that's a loss.
What?
We always lose games to the Jaguars. We should beat them, and we never seem to. Can't get over that hump. I'm going to take the Jags.
You're just trying to take. You know what you have their record at now. Now you're trying to dial it back a little bit. Is that what we're doing?
But now they have to tank the last game because everyone's resting with that number 1 bye.
Yeah, but he already picked that game. He's already given it to a win as the Jets.
The division's already locked up.
It doesn't. He can't.
Everything's
pick,
locked
he can't
up.
pick both sides of a hypothetical. Yeah, he can't do that. He's already picked the
He
game.
can
I mean, I
switch
can
it
do
knowing-
that. I can do that.
No, I think it's kind of fair because he can now see.
How is it
like,
kind of fair? He said
'cause
the
that
Jets.
was
The Jets
before
will
he
beat
knew that
the Jets will beat the Dolphins, but now the Dolphins will beat the Jets. Give me a fucking break.
No, because now he's laid out his number 1 seed, and it's not just, Tyrod playing for Rodgers. It's every layer of the team potentially resting with absolutely nothing to play for now that has a 2-loss season and we're after Christmas.
Well, before Christmas in Week 16, the Jets host the Rams.
That's a Rams win.
Yeah,
What?
well,
The Rams are coming to the cold?
yeah, for an
Yeah,
early game
Rams
from the
are
West
good.
Coast. We see what Tim just doesn't want to seem like a lunatic picking them to go 16-1.
Yeah, but he's picking the wrong games.
I agree, but he's to the point where he got so excited picking all the wins early, he now just doesn't matter who they're playing, he's giving them losses.
Although the Rams went into Baltimore last year in cold weather and played outstanding.
Lost in overtime.
Pardon me. The Rams are good. The Rams are good.
There they are.
Hey, listen, I'm the one who cashed some nice Rams to make the playoff tickets. Tim, you and I were the only guys on the Rams last year.
Yeah, I mean, we thought they'd win the division, so we were wrong about that. But
That's
we were
true.
right about if they didn't get hurt, they'd be right in the mix, and they sure were.
Jets at Bills, December 29th, Week 17.
Jets.
Week 18, you've already given the Jets a win at home against the Dolphins.
Yeah,
So you have 14-3 as the Jets record.
that is a lot of wins and more than I'd want to give them. But that's a soft schedule, and like I get to play 7 solitary games in the first 11 weeks. 7. Basically, I'm the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC because only Dallas gets that type of treatment.
if your quarterback gets hurt again and you got to trot out the bullshit through your 7 primetime games like you did last year, God help us all. I mean it. I don't mind you having these games, but last year they all turned to shit once it. Well, no, actually, you were actually fun in some of them. You were
They
competitive.
were all good. Most of them were good games. Like the
your
Bills,
worst
the
one was
Chiefs,
the
the
Chargers.
Raiders.
Funny enough,
The Raiders, where Meyer had that walk-off win.
I hated that.
We didn't show up in the Black Friday game when our Hail Mary was taken back for a touchdown, or against or Cleveland on a Thursday night. We really didn't show up for, but we put up a good fight in a couple of those games without a quarterback. That's a great schedule. I mean, I don't know about how many teams coming off bye that we're playing, but I'd say I could quibble on the margins. I don't care about having 2 Thursday night games. And it's on Halloween night too. I don't like that. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. And I don't like our home opener being a Thursday night too. That sort of saps some of the energy that probably would have been in the building if it had been a Sunday. But and I didn't want to go to London. But all things considered, I don't want to whine too much. I think it's a fair schedule. I like our chances. I mean, on paper, there's no one in the AFC top to bottom who's got more talent than me. But the games aren't played on paper. They're played on the field, and there's so much injury risk. But I like it.
How bad is it going to look for the NFL when the same thing as last year, Jeff, happens again this year? And now we're stuck with Tyrod playing all these games after week 1.
That would be. I don't find any humor in that.
I do.
Like that.
No, that would be tragic.
It would be. It would in this moment. I don't. That would be so bad. All these Rodgers, the other Achilles, wouldn't be the best joke ever.
Well, what about this hypothetical scenario where 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers coming off an Achilles tear just isn't good anymore, and they're just shitty?
Yeah, he
still
could
be better than what we played with. He still would be better than what we had last year, and we won 7 games. What if any quarterback?
What if he can't play on Thursday night because he's committed to doing Tucker Carlson interviews in that time?
Yeah, he's so focused on winning. He's busy doing interviews. Man. Like whatever. I just need him to start winning football games.
Well,
it is possible that Tim, if Rodgers is washed, the Tim turning on him will be a interesting, fun week of podcasts.
Don't forget that Cust called Aaron Rodgers washed when he won back-to-back MVPs. And the moment he got to the Jets, all of a sudden he wasn't washed anymore, and he was no longer winning MVPs. He was well past that. So, yeah, the moment Tim can pull the hook on Aaron Rodgers, the turn is going to be very quick.
It's going to be nasty.
I don't envision that happening. I'm envisioning, some great AFC playoff games. I'm not going to pick the Jets to win the Super Bowl. I'm not going to do that. I'm just not.
You just picked them to go 14-3.
Great, so they can lose in the AFC title game or in the divisional round at home, which would still be great. I still would be delighted to have one of those games. But I will tell you here and now, I am not picking them to win the Super Bowl.
Who got Black Friday?
I'm looking at it now. The Chiefs and the Raiders.
The Chiefs, the streamers, yeah, for sure. You're gonna pay $100 million a game, you get the Chiefs, sure.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is the king of streaming because the Dolphins Chiefs was the Peacock playoff game last year too, wasn't it?
And it worked on Christmas Day, which is a streaming game on Netflix.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of streaming games for Mahomes.
Streaming's the future. Patrick Mahomes is the future.
It's actually the Chiefs fans who gotta pay the piper.
Do the Chiefs really bring numbers?
You know what though?
Do people watch the Chiefs the way they watch Dallas?
No, let me tell you
as long as Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce, yes.
Okay.
That's fair. I guess there is the yes. Okay, when she's in the building, I guess I can't dispute that.
But also, to my understanding, locally, you don't need the streaming.
Correct.
No, that's right. It's on regular broadcast cable locally.
And I do think that the Chiefs have hit that point of popularity now, almost like the Patriots did during their runs, where they're just
for sure they're
just a popular team because they win every year. A lot like the Warriors when the you put Golden State in any one of these NBA primetime games, or even go look at the finals with Golden State in them. It's like, oh my God, look at these ratings. Like Mahomes is like Curry in that way, just like Brady was like that. When you have a dominant, like people always be like, oh man, these dominant franchises and these dynasties, they're bad for sports. They are the best thing that ever happens to ratings and popularity for these teams. It's just people love a winner.
And those Golden States, yeah, because they would get the ratings. They'd get Steph versus these like up and coming Thunder, Durant, Westbrook, Harden, and they'd roll that into Steph versus LeBron.
Yeah.
And
so by that logic, Scheffler should just win every single week then, because nothing would be better for ratings.
Okay, right now Scheffler is. I mean, it does make sense. Like right now, people see Scheffler as boring in some ways, but if he keeps winning, it would probably be like a Federer thing, where I'm sure Federer, like when he won his first like 4, like this guy's boring. But once you're winning a certain number, it's like that doesn't matter. People are tuning in for the absolute greatness of it.
Yeah,
Cheer against you, cheer for you. The David versus Goliath, the other superstars trying to get there first. There's a lot of interesting drama layers within the people loving dynasties and greatness.
Yeah, and even to go look at who the most popular golfers have been over the past 15 years. Like if you had to point to like the 4, who are they? They're Tiger, obviously, and he really kind of, I mean, there was a lot of buzz around Tiger. He was LeBron before LeBron, when he was just this hyped kid who was coming up, and he was as good as advertised. In fact, even better. But throw Tiger out of it, who have been the other guys who have been as popular. Phil, who was already popular, then went to a different level once he actually started winning majors, and then he won 6 of them. Rory all of a sudden becomes a phenom and is still popular today because he won 4 majors in 4 years, as in his early 20s. People are like, oh my God, this is the next guy. Turns out he wasn't, but he still had those 4 majors. That carries over. Spieth wins 3 in 3 years. People are like, holy shit, who is this guy? And then Brooks, he has 5 in the past like 7 years, and he gets put on that map. Like Scheffler still only has 2 majors. Like he has to get to 3.
I would say that Fowler was right there with those guys in terms of popularity, and he didn't win anything.
Listen, Fowler is incredibly popular and remains popular, but he has not been as popular.
At his height, he was like people seem to paper it over, but like after Tiger, you could have made the case that Fowler was the second most popular player on tour. You really could.
Maybe after he
won the stretch for 3 or 4 years there.
When he won the Players, maybe that was sort of the peak of Ricky. Wouldn't you say, Jeff?
Yeah. He shared a video game cover with Tiger, like when it was the Tiger Woods game, I think, still from EA Sports. So yeah, they tried, but he was fun and exciting, and that makes sense. He probably sold more hats than any golfer, even Tiger, for maybe.
I take your point. I take your point about that the most popular golfers were also, well decorated and champions.
Yeah.
Just every now and then someone else gets into the mix who has no right to be there.
And as someone who, listen, I mentioned this, I actually did a show with Tommy G earlier today, and he was kind of talking about the same thing with Scheffler. But Scheffler has 2 majors. He has as many as Rahm and as many as DJ. He has as many as Morikawa. Like, until he starts getting above those guys, how many Houston Opens can you win?
Yeah.
So that's the way that I would look at it. But we're here to talk about football. If you want to hear Jeff, Tim, and I talk about golf, tune in Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern time, to the live Cut Sweat show for the PGA Championship. Get those giveaway draws, by the way. Underdog Fantasy, code Mayo. Go deposit $10 right now. Help out the show, and you can play along with us. We're going to have tons of stuff going for NFL season. I want to go over the international schedule for a second as well. If it wasn't so close to our President's Cup getaway, we're going to be doing all of our shows on location in case people want to come hang with us in Montreal at the event, that the Vikings-Jets in London game would be the easiest game for us to go to, Tim.
I agree.
But what do you make of the week 1 game in Brazil? I think that's interesting.
I think it's an interesting idea, but I have no earthly concept of what to expect. I mean, I expect it to be kind of chilly because it's winter time in Sao Paulo. So it's going to be like 16, 17 degrees. Like, it won't be a hot weather game, I wouldn't think.
Is that like saying it's wintertime in Arizona, though? Like, what do you mean?
No, they're more southerly than Arizona is southerly to the equator. Like, I think it would be like what's the average temperature?
The average temperature in Sao Paulo in September is 25 degrees Celsius.
And it'll be nighttime, so it'll be like 20.
Okay. So a nice football. It'll be perfect football weather. Is that
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
saying?
What are you
I think it'll
talking
be
about?
just like. Well, I don't think it'll. When people said it's going to be in Brazil, I think people envision it being like 1,000 degrees out, and I don't think it's going to be like a Dolphins game, for example.
No, that is
lovely.
like perfect football weather, though.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Like I think it'll be like one of like the Germany games have been, or the London games have been, which is, it's kind of gimmicky. It's the first week, so I don't expect high level football to be played, but something to watch on a Friday night, I suppose. So sure.
And this will be a staple because they'll want to do Thursday and Friday, right?
It's
Like
the only
next-
Friday legally of the year they're allowed to play games on in the fall, right? So they might as well do it.
Yeah, they will. That ain't going anywhere. I think we'll see a Friday nighter to start at week 1 from here on out, which is cool. More football.
Do you think Canada will ever get a game back, or did that just fail so spectacularly that there's just no point?
I
See how the
don't
World Cup
think-
does.
I don't think it failed. It failed in certain respects, but there were other respects where it was maybe more importantly a great success, and that would have been on like a corporate level.
But where are
And
they
that
going to
just-
go? Where are they
And
going
that
to play
just
a game?
shows you that if they do come, like the price point, they really did screw things up. But in terms of like the suites and the club levels, which is something NFL really does look at, Toronto crushes on that front, and they crushed it on the Bill series on that front. It was just they really tried to gouge like the average fan, and the average fan didn't go for it, and it was still someone else's team. But yeah, I think Toronto could get a game.
No, it would never be Toronto again. Toronto's done. We're talking about other cities in Canada. Like that's where there's any intrigue. There is zero intrigue in the NFL playing a game in a city where there's 3 other professional sports franchises and there's nothing exotic about it. Like
Maybe.
BC Place set up to play.
I would say
Maybe.
Olympic Stadium. I would move this to Montreal. Like Montreal was the very clear answer to this because
If
it,
the Big O wasn't falling
stadium.
apart,
it feels more international than any other Canadian city.
I agree.
I do think it's like they're playing a lot of international games. They're going to a lot of places. Like you're not. I do think Canada should be given a game, but I don't know, they were given a preseason game in Winnipeg a few years ago, and the end zones were like broken.
What?
Don't you remember? It was too close to the wall. They had to play on like a 90-yard field
No.
or something. I swear to God, it was so embarrassing.
Paul had something to say.
Yeah, I was going to say that Montreal's probably the fit as well because, like, I don't know, Vancouver, it's 2 hours to Seattle. So it's like people from Vancouver, if they want to go see NFL games, they can already kind of do it. Toronto, 2 hours to Buffalo, 4 hours to Detroit. It's like those markets already kind of can do it if they want. Montreal's kind of on an island. So maybe it would be a big thing there. And they love
But I saw
football.
this
There.
thing
They love like
that
It's not
shows
collegiate
kinda
stuff.
on an island. It's actually on an island.
Pat, I saw this stat. I don't remember the exact numbers, but the search impressions for the NFL in Toronto are like any major American city.
I mean, that makes
Like-
sense.
Sure, but it's nothing exotic. Why would you want to like?
No, it's just
tout the
there's a
game you're
huge
playing in
NFL
Toronto?
fan base that would support a neutral game that has nothing to do with the Bills.
Yeah, but do you find like I did find and I mean
They don't have anywhere to play in Toronto. That's the problem.
You play at Skydome.
Skydome has been completely
No, it's, yeah,
renovated.
Skydome can't be. You're right.
it's
We
also
actually
too
don't have
small.
a place to play.
It was too small as it was, and they don't have a place to play. So Toronto's out.
Then where are
Because
they?
it's been
Toronto's not
refitted.
hosting.
Wait, where are they playing the World Cup games then?
They're going to play them at BMO with weird extended seats that they're going to put in just for this. But that's still not enough for an NFL football game.
And they didn't get any big games for the
No.
World Cup. They got a couple.
BC Place is going to get the big Canada games.
Anyway, Olympic Stadium would be able to hold that many people, I would guess. But the in terms of proximity, you can drive 5 hours to get from Montreal to Foxborough if you really wanted to. But that would be my pick, would be Montreal. And Quebec is the only place in Canada besides the very southern part of Ontario that plays 4-down football. So they're well
I agree.
acclimated with American football over Canadian football. I wish there was more like the Germany game that we saw last year was the best international game by far that we've seen. Like the German crowd was into it. I would have rewarded them with more games.
And they're getting a German
There was another German game, right?
Yeah, but there should be
Wasn't
more
Colts?
German games instead of like the
Colts
London
Patriots?
games. The London games are terrible. Like the London crowd doesn't care. Like everything you said about going to Toronto, Tim, I think actually applies to London as well. Like, what's the point?
At this point, I wouldn't go to London for more than a game a year. I'd spread the wealth around with those games. I would play a game in France. I would play a game in. You really can't go as far as Asia for time purposes, but or Australia. But I would play games all over the place. Yeah, why not? The European soccer teams all have massive stadia that could accommodate NFL games. It's not a question of finding a space. It's just a question of willingness. But the NFL is hell-bent on making London the second city for the NFL after New York for whatever reason. And that's just what they're going to keep doing.
They say, this guy in the chat says, Vancouver can host the Olympics. I'm pretty sure they can host an NFL game. Well, fuck, Montreal and Calgary hosted the Olympics too. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, BC Place probably would be would probably be.
BC Place is the premier sports facility in Canada.
Is it?
Of course it is.
What do you mean? Of course it
That's
is.
why like all the best World Cup games are going there. They just renovated it. It hosted the Olympics. I would imagine BC Place is probably clearly the nicest spot. I know they just renovated the Sky Dome, but that's not just a baseball stadium.
They can't play football there anymore.
Can they do anything else there? Remember when they used
Maybe
to have
concerts?
Remember when they had Raptors games at Skydome?
Yes, absolutely. And the Spurs played at the Alamo Dome.
It's too big for a basketball stadium.
Yes, absolutely. That's why they stopped playing there. But Maple Leaf Gardens didn't want them there, I guess, a lot.
Yeah, let's see. Jags just signed a 30-year lease with funding for a new stadium, so there's no threat to move to London full time. Yeah, it's just, I'm kind of over the London games. Like, there's no fun of like the only funny thing about London was when what the fuck was the guy's name? The guy in the Dolphins, the linebacker, Channing Crowder.
Only knew London. Yeah. Who only knew London Fletcher.
Yeah, the only London he knew was London Fletcher. Like that was the best thing to ever come out of the London games.
I agree. It's time for them to go. It doesn't have to go away. You can have one a year if you'd like, but move the rest of them around Europe and South America and Central America. You can give one to Canada.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't remember a Mexico City game since the laser pointer game. Maybe I'm misremembering.
I think the Chargers were there a couple years, like more recently.
I feel like they just should have been there every. I guess once the Raiders moved to Vegas, they kind of stopped because it felt like the Raiders were always in that game.
Also, like it's hard to play NFL football at that elevation. Like that is a significant thing. Mexico City.
Yeah.
I just don't think the climate is really properly suited for the type of sport that NFL football is.
All right. Well, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Any final thoughts on the NFL schedule?
I'm excited. I got a great schedule. Jeff got a bad schedule, but he's got easy teams. I have a great schedule, and I have a mixture of good and bad teams, but I'm delighted that they gave me the Niners first. I can't wait for that game. I want that game now. I just wish I could close my eyes and it could be September and we could be, we could be playing San Francisco and then it would be great.
The build up to those two Dolphin games, I mean, that's going to take a lot of content, I feel.
I wish I played them earlier. I don't like that they're backloaded. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like it either. As for the Chargers right now, my thoughts are pretty neutral. The schedule did come out easy. I'm surprised I got to 10 wins. I didn't want to get that high, even though maybe I wanted to get higher. I don't really have a thought, and I'm sure I'll have something to complain about when I'm showed some rest logs or something, or who we're playing off rest and that sort of crap. But as for now, I'm pretty neutral on it.
Oh, I did want to get. We're not going to have the Custies will be coming out soon. We haven't recorded it yet. However, next Thursday, I've already recorded Bronstetter and Kenny for the Custies panel, which means that not far along after that, the actual Custy Awards are going to be out. So if you've been missing the PME, we did a live town hall debate for the Custies. That's on the network right now in the pod feed. That's going to be coming out on Thursday. We got to give people a little bit of a taste here. Jeff, I can't remember if Tim asked you or not that he was very reluctant to tip movers.
Yeah, we spoke about this. It was in the context of me being really annoyed. Jordan Spieth only gave a guy $20 who he pelted a ball with off the tee. Yeah, that's bad form, Tim. But then when you really do speak to Tim about tipping, it's like a dark alley. Like it's a dark path where you're like, oh man.
I just live in a world where the words free delivery ought to mean free delivery.
Yeah, it's because it's free delivery. You're supposed to tip.
then it's not free. Don't call it free delivery then.
No, it is.
You-
You're just
you-
Well, it's not.
You don't have to tip them. That's not required. It can be as free as you want
Only
it to be.
in a
I think it's bad
Dr.
form.
Seuss backwards. Only in a complete Dr. Seuss backwards world is the word free mean you pay.
Okay, hear me out. Let's say something happens and you get the better end of the deal where the waitress now gives you and whoever you're with like a couple free drinks. You've now gotten these 2 free drinks for some reason. You don't feel like, okay, I know these drinks are free, but I'm going to tip the waitress really even extra great because they're free.
I would. That's
So
sure.
it's just, you got something. Yeah, you bought something that had free
No,
delivery.
your position is if I play Monopoly and land on free parking, I should pay the bank some money.
No, you should tip the guy who valets your car, though.
Sure, I think that's fair.
Even if you have a pass for free valet.
No, free is free.
No, if you have a pass, like you're not paying for the actual valet parking aspect of it, you still pay to tip the thing. Like if you're at a nice restaurant, they valet your car, and that valet ends up being comped because you spent a certain amount of money. You still tip the dude when he takes the car and brings the car. Like that's not related to the free of it.
You're right. It's not free. So don't call it free.
Oh.
Don't call things free that I have to pay for.
No, they
That's
are
a scam.
free. They're 2 separate things.
No, don't call it free valet parking is a scam if I have to pay for the valet to park my car.
Tipping the valet. You're not paying.
It's still money moving from me to someone else for the service.
I just
I don't see
spoke
the
about
difference.
this dark path and I walked right into this vortex, you idiot. I'm more mad at myself than you, even though you're insane.
No, I'm right about this.
No, not movers. Not movers.
As
Not movers.
listen,
Barista.
as,
you could be right- something-
someone who worked on a delivery truck for 3 years, I have certain feelings about tipping movers. And I will tell you, Tim, most people don't tip the people who bring them stuff. But there are certain people, good people out there, who will do it. It doesn't need to be a ton of money. Like, I remember when guys delivered my fridge. Like, I went out of my way to tip them. It seems like the worst thing of all time, moving a fridge into someone's house. It sucks to move things into people's houses. That, just throw them $20 each, $10 each, something like that, just to give them something. And
I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying
you don't want
Don't
to.
tell me it's. Don't tell me.
No,
it's
this is
free
a
if
roundabout
there's a
way of
social
you to continue
obligation.
to be cheap.
Yeah.
If there's a social obligation for me to tip, just make the
Semantics.
gratuity a part of the bill that I pay. Just
No,
make
you
it all
want
part of the
to-
package.
Don't you understand how this works? Like, you want to tip it. You want to go to them. You don't want it to go through the corporation and then the
Yes.
owner takes a piece of the tip. They're doing this service. You want to tip them in cash. That's what they want. That's what they appreciate. It's separate. Your delivery service is free. They loaded it into the truck. But actually tipping the guys, they're separate things, and you're looking at it as the same thing, and that's wrong, in my opinion.
You get the money directly to the person who you want to be giving it to.
Fair enough. And look, I don't have the ability to sit down to $6,500 a plate dinners like Jeff does, who can afford to tip the server when they take the plate away. $300 or whatever you'd have to charge to
That's
tip somebody
never
there.
happened.
But I'm just saying, don't call it free if it isn't free. If there's a social obligation on me to pay, don't call it free.
Oh no, the poll on YouTube right now is Cust cheap is at 100% yes. You're not even winning that poll with 2%, pal.
I mean, I'm not
agree.
opposed to tipping. And I think it's a situation by situation thing. Like, what if people bring stuff to your house and it's not assembled? You have to assemble it yourself later.
Do you have to
Still
assemble
tipping?
it? Do you have to? Well, what is it?
I'm asking you because there are some circumstances
What
where
is
that
it?
can happen.
What is it? Give me the circumstance, and I'll tell you.
You could, let's say, purchase a dresser,
Okay.
for instance. They don't assemble that dresser for you. They just bring the boxes up. You've got to assemble the dresser because they have 20 deliveries to make, and if they assembled everybody's dresser, they'd never get them all done. So they give you the dresser in the couple of boxes it comes in, and it's up to you to assemble it. You tipping? You tipping less than you would tip somebody if it was assembled, or if they got to put it together? Like,
I would
what are the
tip.
rules?
I would tip less than that, whether they had to assemble it or not. Yeah, of course. They're doing more
Okay.
work if they have to assemble it. Also, Like, I mean, if we're just going to talk about you being cheap, the fact that your dresser shows up in multiple boxes that you have to assemble is like the epitome of cheap.
And he steals jams from
And
restaurants.
you steal jams from restaurants as well, as Paul points out.
I have leftovers.
All right. So everyone keeps telling us to look at the Steelers schedule. Now, I don't know if it's like actually harder, or if it's those soft fucking Steelers fans who are like, oh my God, everything isn't as easy as possible, therefore it's rigged against us. Classic Cust stuff, really. But let's see here. Steelers go at Atlanta, at Denver, home Chargers, at Indy, primetime Sunday Night Football against Dallas, at Vegas, at the Jets on Sunday Night Football, Giants on Monday Night Football with a bye, at Washington. And then it gets really hard. It goes Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Cleveland, at Philly, Baltimore, Kansas City to end. That's a death final 7 weeks. But before
that's a rugby match where you need to put all your points up early because the opponent gets to put all theirs up late.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Not rugby,
bet-
sorry, cricket. It's a cricket match.
Yeah, the
you bet
crossover is
someone else
probably
to win the
ugly.
division after.
And the Bengals came in last,
that
so
early
the
run.
Bengals get a last place schedule, right?
Yeah, it's a great spot where, going into week 10, Baltimore is like plus 150 to win the division, like Paul said. And you could jump on them because people don't appreciate that it's just a murderer's row for the last 7 games of the year.
Yeah, 6 division games in the final 8 weeks is crazy.
It sure is. And the non-divisional games are the Eagles, who, went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
And the Chiefs.
And the Chiefs, who, won the last 2 Super Bowls. So
Wow.
how do you do?
Yeah, I guess the last week is against Cincinnati as well in week 18. Jesus.
And again, one of them's a Christmas game. They've got to play a Saturday game the week before to be able to play the Christmas game.
I think the Patriots have a really hard schedule. Just hearing.
Every schedule is hard when you're not going to win any of your games.
No, but I know they got like what I consider the ultimate death spot, that they're on the second leg of the Jags back to back. And the Patriots, for having a last place schedule, their non-division their non full division crossover games are against Burrow and Herbert. And then in the NFC, it's against the Bears, who are like, I don't know how good or bad they are, but as a last place slotted game, they're certainly not a last place team, especially with the moves they've made. So for a last place schedule, they actually got a really hard roundabout way, but sure.
I had to listen to a Patriots fan today complain to me about how they had to play the Jags after back-to-back London games. And I said, look, this is the perfect year for this to happen to you because your team is terrible. So the league's not going to do it to you again for a very, very, very long time. So what a great time to get rid of it because it has no effect on your capacity to win a championship or anything.
And Paul would agree because that's the game that really did break the Bills. Despite them making a run after it, they got so many injuries in that game. The Milano injury, they should have just stayed home and given the Jaguars a win. That's how bad of a day that was for the Bills' long-term prospects.
Paul, do you agree with that?
Yeah, it sounds about like when I was calling for McDermott's head. It's probably around that time.
All right. Well, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Dipping back into football. We're going hard at football very, very soon. I'm giving away some cash. I'm giving away some free subscriptions to things. So hit the description and find out how to get in those draws. The big one to get you the most ballots is code Mayo, Underdog Fantasy. Please go do that. Help out the show if you're still sticking around. If you've already done it, thank you very much for that. Thanks to Paul. Thanks to Jeff. Thanks to Tim. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.